Math 31. This is a lesson on absolute value equations and also inequalities. So to begin, let's launch right into a few questions. Solve the following. Absolute value of x is equal to 5. Now, a question like this you could probably reason your way through without doing much math on it. The x would be equal to 5, but it could also be equal to negative 5. And that'll work, but there is a method that we use for these questions. The method goes like this, basically. We have to remember with absolute value equations that this is going to break into two little sub-equations. So we break into two. And they will always go like this. This will turn into the positive x equal to 5, which is actually an answer. And the other one would be negative x is equal to 5. And then, of course, when we solve by division, we'll get x equal to negative 5. So it worked nicely. We didn't have to do much with this, but for one this simple. But as they get more complicated, of course, we want to be aware of that. Now the next question takes a step up in complexity, and we do the same thing on it. This is going to break into, on one hand, x minus 4 is equal to 2x plus 1, and then we solve through this one. It will, on the other hand, break into negative. Now we need a bracket around that x minus 4. Because the absolute value really is just a bracket with a few special characteristics. So when you solve this one, doesn't matter which side we bring the x to, I'll keep it on the right, subtract x from both sides, and then subtract 1 from both sides, we'll get negative 5. Here, we distribute the negative through, so negative x plus 4 is equal to 2x plus 1. I'll bring the x over to the right side, giving me 3x, subtract 1 away, that'll give me 3, and therefore, through division, x is equal to 1. Now, the other thing with these absolute value questions are we must check. We didn't on the first one because it was so simple, but here we do need to take our answers and see if they work. So when we see x equal negative 5, replace that in. Negative 5 minus 4 is supposed to be equal to 2 times negative 5 plus 1. Negative 5 minus 4, of course, is negative 9, absolute value of. We take the absolute value of it, we get positive 9. And then on the right side, 2 times negative 5 is negative 10 plus 1, right to negative 9. And here's the problem. Negative 9 is not equal to 9. So we have to reject x equal negative 5. Now you're not checking your own algebra, of course. You're just checking in the course of solving this problem whether you've created an inadmissible answer. And then we take a look at the other one, x equal 1, and we hope for the best. Sub it in, 1 minus 4, and see how that compares to 2 times 1 plus 1. 1 minus 4 is negative 3. We take the absolute value of it, we get positive 3. And meanwhile, on the right side, 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. So we did it. Left side is equal to right side. So our answer is x is equal to 1. And that would be the only answer. So that's the idea with problems like this. Let's try another one. 2x plus 1 is equal to negative 4. Now this is an interesting problem because you might right away figure out that something's wrong with this question. But if you did play dumb with it, you'd get this. 2x plus 1 equal to negative 4. And remember, at any time, pause me, go through the question, and then check your answer. If you didn't recognize what was going on, you'll get answers for this. You'll get 2x is equal to negative 5. Divide by 2, x is equal to negative 5 divided by 2. Okay. Here we get negative 2x minus 1 is equal to negative 4. So negative 2x is equal to negative 3. And then x is equal to 3 divided by 2. Now, the problem is, when we do check, and I'm going to go through the first one, and then I'm going to move on to the observation stage. 2 times negative 5 over 2 plus 1 is supposed to be equal to negative 4. So this is negative 5 plus 1 is absolute value of negative 4, and 4 is not equal to negative 4. And in fact, if you take a look, you'll see that there's no way that anything is going to work, because the absolute value must be greater than 0 or equal to 0. So absolute value of 2x plus 1 must be greater or equal to 0. So therefore, there's no solution. There's no way you could get an answer for this problem. Had you recognized that at the beginning, you could have eliminated all this extra work. Now that would have been revealed in the check, but try to do it a little quicker if you can by watching out for things like that. Now this problem is a little more complicated because we have two absolute values. And the rule for two absolute values is that we can simplify the process a little bit, because instinctively a lot of people want to work out 4 different scenarios, positive and negative for each one of them. The fact is, you don't need to do that, because there'll be duplicates if you did it like that. So what I'm going to do is take that x plus 2, keep it where it is, and I'll bring that other one over to the other side, so that 3x minus 10. Not necessary, but it does make things a little bit cleaner and easier to work through. And I'm just going to take x plus 2, go positive x plus 2 is equal to 3x minus 10, so I ignore the other absolute value. And then the other one is going to be negative x plus 2 is equal to 3x minus 10. Now, if you didn't feel like doing it this way, if you wanted to go plus or minus 3x minus 10 instead, fine, it still works. So when we solve this, we'll get 2x on this side. Add the 10 on is 12. So x is equal to 6. And then on this one, negative x minus 2 is equal to 3x minus 10. Bring that x over, we get 4x. Add on 10, you'll get 8. So x is equal to 2 when you divide. Now everything seems fine with this one as well. However, when we do the check, we may get some surprises. Hopefully not. So x equals 6. Absolute value of 6 plus 2 minus 3 times 6 minus 10. This whole thing is supposed to be equal to 0. So it becomes absolute value of 8 minus 18 minus 10 is 8. And this will be equal to 0. So this one works. So x is definitely going to be equal to 6. And then for x equal to 2, absolute value of 2 plus 2 minus absolute value of 3 times 2 minus 10 is supposed to also be equal to 0. So this gives us 4. And then this gives us 3 times 2 is 6 minus 10 is negative 4, but the absolute value of this one is 4. So 4 minus 4 also works out. So therefore, our two answers would be 2 and 6. I'll write that at the top. Get to keep them both. So that's absolute value equations. Now the next lesson will be absolute value inequations. So that will be in a separate video for that. So thank you for your time.